Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another deck tech. So today, we're going to be talking about Golgari Spiders in Pioneer. I've had this list for a while, never decided to end up sharing it for whatever reason. Finally kind of rebuilt the deck in paper the other day and was like, man, I don't think I've talked about this deck on the channel yet. So really excited to bring this list to you. And as always, let me know in the comment section below after the deck tech, what do you like about the list? What do you hate about it? What would you change? And as always, if there's a deck that you'd like to suggest, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. And the deck list will be in the description if you'd like to check it out for yourself. So, alright, Golgari Spiders and Pioneer. Definitely a pretty oddball deck. I mean, it's kind of, it's definitely a mid-range deck, but instead of playing, regular threats like, kind of like Glissa or Shieldred, we're doing like some spider, I don't want to say synergies. I mean, there's not a lot of like spider tribal things that you can kind of combine together. There is, it's just a lot of the spiders kind of work together because there's going to be a lot of like self-mill, reanimation from the graveyard, but we're going to be filling up our graveyard to get additional value, that kind of thing. So, which obviously it'll kind of all piece together once we hop into it here. So we're going to start with the spiders initially, then we're going to start with a lot of the like removal and then like synergy cards, that kind of thing. So, all right, we're going to hop right into it here. So we have 3 Chainweb Arachneer. It is a 1/2 for 1 green spider with reach. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying and opponent controls. Then we can escape it for 3 green, exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. Chainweb Arachneer escapes with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. So, Chainweb Arachneer, fantastic card. Obviously, early game, it's a 1/2 with reach, which isn't, it's not super impressive for the most part, but obviously with the escape cost, comes back as a 4/5 and can really take out a creature with flying. Obviously really good with all of our different cards that mill and such, so we can, buy back the Chainweb Arachneer at a later time. Just a fantastic card. Then we're playing 4 Nyxweaver. It's a 2/3 for 1 black-green enchantment creature spider with reach. At the beginning of your upkeep, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you can have 1 black and a green, exile Nyxweaver, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So Nyxweaver, just a fantastic card, obviously, filling up our graveyard for us. And then, when our graveyard's all filled up, we can tap 3 and exile it and regrowth something, which is pretty solid. Like when I play this card in the past, a lot of the time it's, end step grabbing back like Spoiler Alert and Ishkana, or, grabbing back a removal spell, and then, it works really well with Fatal Push. Spoiler Alert, we have Fatal Push in the deck. Having 4 mana, we can like block with the Nyxweaver, exile it, grab the Fatal Push something, which is pretty fantastic. So yeah, overall, Nyxweaver is a solid card, and it's an enchantment, which is going to matter for cards that are coming up in our deck. Then we're playing 4 Llanowar Green Widow, kind of a new card from Dominaria United. It's a 4/3 for 2 and a green spider with reach and trample. Then it has domain 7 and a black. Return Llanowar Green Widow from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It gains if this permanent would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control. So, obviously, the domain is pretty pricey. We're only playing, the Golgari lands in this, so we're going to be activating it for 6 mana. Llanowar Green Widow, still a fantastic card. Obviously, 4/3 reach and trample for 3 is very solid stats. Being able to buy it back in the late game is still pretty solid, even though it is an expensive domain cost. Llanowar Green Widow, solid card. There's some matchups where we are the beatdown, and Llanowar Green Widow is certainly a beatdown card. 4/3 for 3, reach trample, what's not to like? So, that's our first page of the spiders here. This is our last page of the spiders, and obviously because we have Liliana the Veil at the end we're going to talk about. But anyways, we're playing 2 Arasta of the Endless Web. It's a 3/5 for 2 green legendary enchantment creature spider with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. So Arasta, in some matchups, is the absolute best card in the deck. And then other matchups, it is pretty unplayable for the most part. Obviously, whenever an opponent casts instant or sorcery spell, it depends. Are opponents casting a lot of instant or sorcery spells? Yes? Okay, well, this card's fantastic. No? Okay, well, it's a 3/5 with reach for 4. Rasta, still a solid card, though. Obviously, also has the enchantment typing, which is very relevant for Ishkana, Graph Widow. We're playing 3 copies. It's a 3/5 for 4 and a green legendary creature, spider with reach. When it enters the battlefield, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, put 3 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach onto the battlefield. Then we can tap 6 on a black. Target opponent loses 1 life for each spider you control. So Ishkana, fantastic card, arguably the best card in the deck. We're only playing 3 copies because it is legendary, and, we have a lot of ways to be able to, select our creatures for the most part, with, Grisly Salvage, spoiler alert, we're milling cards, buying them back with, the Nyx Weaver, so I decided to just play 3 copies, and it is a 5-drop at the end of the day, too, so we don't want to play too many, get our hand all gummed up with them, but Ishkana, very, very good. It's actually really funny, so as of the day of this recording, I actually activated the bottom ability of Ishkana to actually win the game, which was hilarious because I'd always joke oh yeah, you technically could do it, but it'll never happen, and then it happened, which I thought was pretty hilarious. So yes, Ishkana, very, very good card. Love Ishkana, just in general, not even in the deck, just Ishkana is an awesome card. So those are all of our spiders. Then we're playing 3 Liliana of the Veil, 3 loyalty, 1 black, legendary planeswalker Liliana. Can't even believe I'm going to explain what this card does, but for the few that don't know what it does, we can add a loyalty. Each player discards a card. -2, target player sacrifices a creature. -6, separate all permanents target player controls into 2 piles. That player sacrifices all permanents in the pile of their choice. So, Liliana, fantastic card. Helps fill our graveyard. Delirium matters because it's a planeswalker. Makes our opponent sacrifice creatures, which is obviously a fantastic effect. What's not to like about Liliana? I mean, card is just absolutely fantastic. So, really enough said about that. So, now we're going to hop into our instant sorceries here. We're playing 4 Thoughtseize, 1 black sorcery. Target player reveals their hand. You choose an online card from it. That player discards that card, and we lose 2 life. Yes, we are paying life, but it doesn't matter. We're getting perfect information of our opponent and taking their best card. Well, not necessarily best card, but we're taking the card that we want to take out of their hand. So, Thoughtseize, fantastic card, staple for black-based mid-range decks. Then we're playing 4 Fatal Push, 1 black instant, destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less. Has Revolt, destroy that creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less instead if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn. Obviously, a staple 1-mana removal spell of the format, and again, works really well with Nyx Weaver. I really like that combo, just fantastic. Then we're playing 2 Abrupt Decay, black and a green instant, can't be countered by spells or abilities. Destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. Obviously, in this format, there's a lot of problematic permanents that cost 3 or less. Abrupt Decay says, I got you. Takes care of all of them. Doesn't matter if it's a planeswalker, creature, battle, enchantment, whatever. It'll take care of it. Then we're playing 2 Assassin's Trophy, black and a green instant, destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield. Takes care of anything. Yes, it does give them a land, but it takes care of any problematic permanent, similar to Assassin's Trophy. Well, similar to Abrupt Decay, except Assassin's Trophy can get rid of lands as well, which is fantastic. Nykthos? Nope, I don't think so. Really, just gets whatever. Just fantastic card. Then we're playing 2 Witherbloom Command, black and a green sorcery. Choose 2. Target player mills 3 cards, then you return a land card from your graveyard to your hand. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Target creature gets -3/-1 until end of turn. Target opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Excuse me. So Witherbloom Command is fantastic. Really, we're going to choose all these modes for the most part. I mean, they're all relevant of why we want it. It's a removal spell. It drains. It technically is a removal spell twice because, mana value 2 or less, target creature -3/-1. So it's just, and then it also fills our graveyard. It's just, Witherbloom Command is a fantastic card. I almost considered playing 4, but I really wanted the Abrupt Decays. But yes, Witherbloom Command, absolutely fantastic card. It wasn't like, for instance, our Squirrel deck, which was our last video, with the Verdant Command, it was like, oh, you're pretty much only going to choose these 2. No, Witherbloom Command, you're going to choose all these depending on the time. Like, it's just that good of a card. Then rounding out our non-creatures, we were playing 4 Grisly Salvage, black and a green instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature or land card from among them into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard. Obviously fantastic, filling up our graveyard, grabbing back, a land. If we're, short on lands, we grab a land. If we need some threats, we grab a creature, that kind of thing. Just fantastic. Grisly Salvage is awesome. I really can't say enough good things about Grisly Salvage. All right, so we are going to be hopping into our lands here. We're playing 4 Overgrown Tomb, 4 Blooming Marsh, and 3 Llanowar Wastes. Sorry, not Wastes. Obviously, staple Golgari lands of the format, really not a lot to say about them for the most part. They're just good Golgari lands. Then we're playing 4 Darkboard Pathway. It is the flip land that also can turn into a green. I believe the green is called Slitherboard Pathway, I'm pretty sure. Then we're playing 1 Boseiju and 1 Takenuma. Obviously, they are the channel lands, staples of the format. They're free. Obviously, we're going to play them. Takenuma is also fantastic. Not even just because, like, oh, we can grab a creature. No, but, like, the milling cards is actually pretty relevant for us. So Takenuma is fantastic to play in a deck like this. Then we're playing 2 Lair of the Hydra, obviously staple manland, X and a green. We can make it an XX green Hydra until end of turn. Fantastic for pressuring our opponent. Then we're playing 2 forests and 2 swamps. As our specialty land of the day, I decided to use the Golgari Guild Kit lands. I tried to find like some good like spidery lands from Innistrad, but I couldn't really find any, so I decided to just play the Golgari lands because we're playing a lot of cards from like the Ravnica plane specifically, like Grisly Salvage, Assassin's Trophy, Abrupt Decay, so I decided to play the Golgari lands and be official, that kind of thing. So, alright. We are done with the main board. We're going to hop into the sideboard here. We have 3 slides for our sideboard. 2 Tormod Script 0-mana artifact we can tap and sacrifice it. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Fantastic against graveyard decks. Also kind of cool with Nyx Weaver in our main phase. You know, if we need to blow up their graveyard again, we can just crack the Nyx Weaver, grab the crypt back for 0 mana and play it again. Kind of cool. Nyx Weaver, fantastic card in the deck. I know, I feel like I've talked about it like 4 times already with how good that card is. But anyways, great with Tormod Script. Damping Sphere, 2-mana artifact. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces colorless instead of any other type and amount. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that players cast this turn. We're playing 2 copies, obviously good against Lotus Combo, Mono Green, and Arclight Phoenix. Damping Sphere, awesome card. Then we're playing 2 Scavenging Ooze. It's a 2/2 for 2. We can tap a green and exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain 1 life. Obviously, Scavenging Ooze, fantastic in mid-range decks, and against mid-range decks, and against creature decks, and against control decks. It's just kind of good against everything. You know, we're doing a lot of self-milling ourselves, so if we need to, we can eat some of our own creatures out of the graveyard to get some additional value with Scavenging Ooze. Obviously, be careful eating, like, the Chainweb Arachnirs unless we absolutely need to, that kind of thing. Extra Nyx Weavers, we do want to try and keep Delirium in our graveyard for Ishkana, so just something to keep in mind if you are playing Scavenging Ooze. Try and go after our opponent's graveyard. Then we're playing 2 Duress, 1 black sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Obviously, if we want additional hand hate, we bring in the Duresses. Fantastic card. Card's been around since the 90s and it's still good. Then we're playing 1 Golgari Charm, black and a green instant. Choose 1. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn, or destroy target enchantment, or regenerate each creature you control. Spoiler alert, the main reason we're playing this is the regenerate each creature we control. Obviously, the other modes can be very relevant, you know, if our opponent's playing enchantments that are relevant, or, you know, our opponent's playing a lot of small creatures, like if they're playing like goblins, you know, maybe even humans. You can try and pick off some of their creatures with the -1/-1. Just fantastic card in general. I really like Golgari Charm. Very underrated card in this format. Then we're playing 1 trophy. We obviously talked about Assassin's Trophy earlier, just playing the 3rd copy in the sideboard for if we need it. Then we're playing 2 Tear Asunder, 1 and a black instant. Kicker 1 and a black. You may pay an additional 1 and black as you cast the spell. Exile target artifact or enchantment. If the spell was kicked, exile target non-land permanent instead. Obviously great. If our opponent's playing problematic artifacts and enchantments, we bring this in. Well, hey, even for 4 mana, it exiles just a non-land permanent instead. So, you know, very flexible card. I love Tear Asunder. Card is absolutely busted. Then we're playing 1 Necromentia, 1 black sorcery. Choose a card name other than a basic land card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles their library, then creates a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each card exiled from their hand this way. Necromentia, awesome card. Really can't say enough good things about Necromentia. We can name any problematic card our opponent's playing and get them out of their deck. Enough said. Then we're playing 2 Crippling Fear, 2 black sorcery. Choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3 until end of turn. Obviously, we're going to be naming Spider. All non-spiders will get -3/-3, takes care of pretty much most of the board that we have an issue with. So, Crippling Fear, awesome card. I feel like this card is like really underrated. I know it's like only black tribal decks really want Crippling Fear, but man, the decks that get it, they absolutely want it. So, fantastic card. But anyways, that is the entire deck. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. I think this is a really fun list. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about the list, if there's any changes you would make. I know there wasn't a lot of spiders that didn't make the cut for the most part, but do you think that there was a card that I should have been playing in the list? And as always, deck list is in the description below if you'd like to check it out for yourself. I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.